Hey guys, Armordrogue here, and I've had some requests to show off character creation and new player orientation in Alchemy for 5e. You can create a character in two places. In the character library, here you can create a character that's already in your library as a copy, choose a pre-made from the universes that you already own, or create a character from scratch. When you create a character this way, you will only have access to the SRD for items and spells. Even if you own the content universes for other things, you won't have access to them unless you create a character or add a character into the game first. So let's go ahead and delete this one and create a character while in-game. When you join a game, you will be greeted with the lobby screen. Here you can view the game's details, such as its name and description, settings that it has on, the players that are currently part of the game, the content turned on in the game, and any of the safety information, such as lines, veils, and content warnings. Always remember to respect the boundaries of the people you are playing with, and do your best to make sure everyone has a fun gaming experience. You can also see the content warnings here below the video and microphone check to see if you want to have them on while in game. After you join, you'll be prompted to create a character if this is your first time joining the game. Same as in the character library, you can create a character from scratch, create a copy from your library, but this time, instead of having access to the pre-made characters that you own, this is the pre-made character list for the content that the GM has made available in the game. Let's choose the half-elf wizard. By choosing a pre-made, we already have all the information we need filled in. So let's go through the character sheet and see what information is actually available. We see that we have here the name, race, level, and class. The 5th edition character sheet in Alchemy has a list for the races from the SRD as well as the list of the classes in the SRD. If you'd like to be something that isn't the SRD, all you have to do is type it in yourself in the field. After those, it lists some core stats. AC, which you can update depending on what armor and ability modifiers you have. The initiative bonus, which should come from outside sources as it already applies your dexterity modifier here. Your movement speed, which is usually determined by your size or your race. And your proficiency bonus, which is determined by your level. When you fill out your ability scores here, it will apply your modifiers to rolls, saves, and checks within the game, as well as your skills listed down here. You can see which skills you are proficient in by a completely filled in white circle, or the ones that you aren't proficient in by an empty circle. When you are proficient in a skill, it will add the +2 bonus automatically to your rolls for that skill. You can also click on a skill for more details, and select the toggle for expertise if you have that feature, or add any additional bonuses that you have from outside sources. Next is the Trackers tab, where you can record your experience and your HP as you go on. Your HP does not change from level to level, you will have to update it yourself. But below that, you'll be able to add trackers to track anything else that you wish that will show up in the tracker bar here on the right. Your tracker can either be a bar, or you can add it as a pip. And you'll see them show up here on the right. After trackers, you'll find the Features tab. The first thing in Features is proficiencies in languages. Proficiencies are things like your armor, weapons, tools, language, and saving throw proficiencies. Each of these have a drop-down for the standard proficiencies available within 5th edition SRD. If you have a custom proficiency that you would like to add, created by you or your GM, all you have to do is type in that proficiency and it'll be added to the list. Don't forget to add your saving throw proficiencies if you haven't already, which are determined by your class and will be added to your saving throws within the game. You can also add your class features here, and your racial traits below. And if your GM has feats available as the optional rule, you can add feats at the bottom. The next tab is the description tab, where you can put your background if you have one, with your background feature, the characteristics for your character such as age, height, weight, eyes, skin, hair, appearance, and alignment. And then you can also put in your personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws that you might have chosen from your player background or made up for yourself. The information that will appear on your character sheet for other players to view is from the characteristics tab down to the flaws section. Organizations, allies, enemies, notes will not be available to other players, only your GM if they decide to look at your character sheet. Same with your background. Something else that will be visible to other players is your backstory if you decide to turn it on. So this backstory is what would be currently visible to other players, or I can turn off the toggle and they won't be able to see it anymore. The next tab, Spells, will only populate if you have a modifier chosen. If you don't have any modifier chosen, it will remove the spell tab altogether. For a wizard, our modifier is Intelligence. For this pre-made character, we already have several spells chosen, but if you want to look for your spells, you can use the drop down here to filter spells by class, such as Wizard, and then it will only show Wizard spells that you're able to use. If you have an expanded spell list due to a feature or a class, then you will have to search for those spells individually. You can also search through spells based on the universe that they appear in, such as the SRD or the Lost Druid, the module currently active for this game. The Spells tab is sorted by spell level, such as cantrips, first level, second level, and so on. As you can see, you can only learn spells for the spell levels that you have open spell slots available for. So if I add a spell slot, then the spells will become available, and I can choose which ones to equip. If I remove the spell slot, it disappears. The spell slots that you indicate here will show up as pips in the game. Here they are. The pips will allow you to keep track of your spell slots throughout a game session, and every time you use one, you can fill in a new pip. For the wizard specifically, and this capability will be expanded to other characters that have prepared spells in the future, you can show whether or not you have a spell prepared for the day by using this pip on the right hand side. Boop. It is not prepared. It is prepared. Back on the character sheet, we can go to the Equipment tab and change the value of what we have in currency. Or we can add new items to our Item tab. So in this tab, you can assign actions to any weapons or other items that might have rollable actions as part of the game. For example, I can go to the small knife, hit edit, add that is a weapon, input the stats needed, such as what type of weapon it is. Dagger's close enough. If it has finesse, if it's light, different things like that. And add an action. Here you can add an attack roll. You can name the action such as knife attack. Change the ability modifier to either dexterity for a finesse weapon or strength if you decide to use the strength value. Whether or not it is ranged, if it requires a saving throw, and the type of damage dice that it does. What ability to add to that damage type, and what type of damage it is. After you do that, you can hit check to finish the item, and then that item will be equipable within the game. You can equip it, and I'll add that action to your action bar on the left. So our quarterstaff has an action, and now our knife does as well. We can use that, and I'll roll our attack and damage at once, and the GM will be able to compare that score to the enemy's AC. With that, that's everything you need to get started as a new player within Alchemy RPG. While there's still more tips and tricks to go over, I'll be back with those in a later video. I hope you guys have a great time. Happy gaming!